Hello and welcome to Planet Hope, the programme dedicated to the United Nations Millennium Development Goals. This week we're looking at goal number 8, developing a global partnership for development by 2015. And our destination is the Democratic Republic of Sao Tome and Principe, a Portuguese-speaking island nation in the Gulf of Guinea. Here, cocoa production accounts for a great majority of exports, and the island is making the most of today's demand for organic produce. Even so, farmers still struggle to make ends meet on the so-called chocolate islands, and times continue to be very tough, as our correspondents Sarah Sacco and Jean-Marie Lemaire discovered.
Sao Tome, a green rock in the middle of the Atlantic, some 350 kilometres away from Gabon. Along with its twin island, this little-known piece of land forms one of Africa's smallest countries, the Republic of Sao Tome and Principe. Some 180,000 people live on 100 square kilometres of volcanic land and tropical forests. They're descendants of African slaves and their former masters, the Portuguese colonists who arrived on the islands in the 15th century. Living for the most part in rural areas, Sao Tomean survival is mainly due to one resource, cocoa. Cultivated for centuries, this fruit has even given these lands their nickname, the Chocolate Islands. Cocoa represents 90% of the country's exports. December marks the end of the harvest period. The De Viega family is busy. Mum Lydia takes charge of opening the pods.
We used to sell our cocoa in Rio de Oro. Then we went to sell it in Santa Margarita. We had a lot of cocoa, but it rotted on the trees because the prices we were given, well, those prices were too low. Thank God, ever since organic cocoa has arrived here, cocoa beans no longer rot on our trees.
And if Lydia's cocoa sells so well, it's because she's a member of the island's very first organic cocoa export cooperative, the CCAB. Over the past 10 years, this project has brought together nearly 2,000 small farmers, representing 20% of the country's cocoa planters. Together, they produce and export high-quality cocoa. Today, we're at the Plancas Primera in the north of the country to meet one of the 40 communities affiliated with the cooperative.
This is a cooperative, and a cooperative belongs to everyone. Before organic cocoa, we had itinerant buyers. Each planter opened his or her own pods, and the cocoa was not of very good quality. The cocoa we offered was, wait, I'll show you. Cocoa like this, low quality that isn't worthy to be sold. Today, with organic cocoa, it must be flawless cocoa, because it's our own product.
While they wait for this harvest to be ready for export, each planter is given an advance on the final payment. And even thousands of miles away from the major stock markets, the cooperative keeps an eye on international cocoa prices.
Every day we keep an eye on the cocoa prices dictated by the New York Stock Exchange. And on the basis of our contract with the buyer, we have an established price scale, which the growers are aware of. And we establish our price according to this scale and international prices.
Like all other members of the cooperative, Lydia benefits from this finely calculated purchase price.
Today I've harvested 85 plus 21, so that makes 106 kilograms. That's 1,500,000 dobras. And the rest of the pay will come when everything will be dry. And it will depend on its quality.
Thanks to the cooperative system of advance payments, Lydia received the equivalent of 60 euros. This is no small amount in São Tomé, where over half the population lives below the poverty line. Lydia is widowed and has no one to help her take care of her family.
The daily life of a São Tomé farmer is hard. The cocoa tree yields only twice a year, in April and October. But even if it's hard, we need to fight. We need to fight because life is expensive now. I don't have a penny left of the money I made yesterday. But I hope things will get better.
The cooperative has given hope back to its members, who face difficult social challenges. Independent from Portugal since 1975, São Tomé is one of the poorest countries in the world. Here, almost everything is imported. People depend essentially on international aid. It's tough to believe that at the beginning of the 20th century, São Tomé was the world's main cocoa exporter. For a long time, the archipelago was mainly a land of exploitation. Slaves were brought from the African mainland to work in the cocoa groves. Those were the glory days of the Roças, those vast colonial plantations, now in ruins. After the abolition of slavery, farm workers replaced the freed captives but were hardly treated any better. These salaried labourers were called contratados. Today, their children still live in the remains of the former colonial plantations. Donna Maria is one of the few contratadas still alive. The old lady is 68 years old and has spent over 50 years in the cocoa plantations.
In those days, there was the team leader, the foreman, and the boss. The boss was the one giving orders for everything. We worked like slaves. Those who survived can tell you. And then there are all the others, those who died. We started work at 5:30 in the morning. Sunshine or rain, we had to go. We had just one break at 9:30. They brought a big dish in the plantations. Whether it was good or not didn't matter. We didn't have a choice. That's all there was to eat. That was the reality when the white people were here.
After the independence, the new state nationalised the Roças, but the plantations soon went bankrupt and the cocoa processing factories were abandoned. The government decided to redistribute the lands to former agricultural workers. 9,000 small farmers found themselves on their own, hostage to the cocoa prices. Antonio is among those who fought to finally improve the life conditions of these contratados. In 2005, when the Santomean state launched the restructuring of the cocoa sector, Antonio and his team were in charge of making farmers more professional. Today, the cooperative is able to export more than 500 tonnes of organic cocoa per year. A small quantity on the world market, but representing 30 to 40% of the country's production.
We are producers, because a cooperative unites 1,800 producers. We export what we produce. We do not buy cocoa. With everything we've done, it has allowed us to double the income of the small producers. Over the next 10 years, we're going to implement a vertical strategy. This means working with current members with the aim of doubling their production. There's a dynamic. It's not like with conventional cocoa, where everyone fends for himself. Here, no, there's an identity. There's a dignity at the level of the association, at the level of the cooperative.
But the cooperative is far from including all the farmers. In São Tomé, many of them still wait for a buyer by the side of the road.
If I don't manage to sell it today, I'll have to throw it away. It'll be completely unsaleable.
The reputation of the island's cocoa is attracting foreign investors. These companies want to revive the sector at an industrial level. So, what is the future for São Tomé's small farmers? The constant growth of international demand for cocoa may help revive the chocolate island's past. The country could also decide to abandon this heritage and promote its rich volcanic islands in a different way. For centuries, the culture of cocoa has shaped the archipelago's folklore, shaped its people's destiny. But today, more and more people are asking that the country develop market gardening to reduce its dependence on imports, to end the monoculture of cocoa, this fruit whose seeds have been both a blessing and a curse for São Tomé.
Well, that's it for this edition of Planet Hope. You can watch again on our website. Just log on to france24.com. That's france24.com. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.